Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! 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 In case I need it later. I'm YouTube famous now. Available on iTunes, 2018. Just like a white-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. S-T-E-V-I-E-N-I-C-K-S. I'm the Stevie Nicks of YouTube. I love her so much. Anyway, should we get right into this video? Where's my props? I got all kinds of props here. When you are a famous YouTuber, you need props. A YouTuber, boost! You need props. So, I was going to make a magazine video. But then, okay, let me tell you about my day, right? Y'all wanna know about my day. Everybody all day long, they're like, please, 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 tell me about your day. Well, my day, I have been napping for the better part of the day. I have, true story. I got some kind of cold last night and my nose has been running and I just haven't wanted to do anything. So I've been basically laying in bed all day long, which is why I didn't trim my beard, which is why you have the same hat, which is why you have a black t-shirt, because I just couldn't pull it together today. Some days are harder than others. So anyway, but I was laying in bed and I was reading through comments. Now, I've addressed this a lot recently that I feel very blessed because on my channel, I get really nice comments. Like, people are really nice to me. I mean, there's no reason basically to disable the comments on my videos. Not on my videos. So anyway, I don't do that, right? It's just like, I have no reason to buy dislikes for somebody or buy subscribers or any of that fakety shit. I just don't have any time for it. I don't have any need for it, and what you see is what you get, right? So anyway, but I read this comment on my video, and it's interesting because it's just a little pink face. I love when people come and they leave like these, 3-paragraph comments on your videos or whatever, and they don't put their face and they have some fakey name. This one I think is, let's see here, Marissa Maria. So Marissa Maria had a lot to say about my Tarte Cosmetic video, which I think everybody has the right to their opinion. So let's read what Marissa had to say, shall we? It's too bad people on social media, okay, let me just tell you that first of all, this comment starts with people on social media and basically is a big finger pointing to you, Peter. Yes, you. So anyway, let's get right into this. It's too bad people on social media and people in general don't exert this much energy, time, and outrage towards things that actually matter, like homelessness, war, famine, sickness, hunger, unemployment, marriage, gay rights, equality. But a makeup company didn't make enough shades and people are losing their shit all over the place like the world is ending. I get it. I get the point about the shades of foundation not being all-inclusive. But guess what, snowflakes? Snowflakes? Who, me? But guess what, snowflakes? Shit happens. Use a different brand and shut the fuck up. Life is full of unfairness and always will be, but focus on the unfair things that actually matter, like people not having enough food or a roof over their heads or medical care for a sick child. You all sound so petty and disingenuous, and by the way, if this is a real racist thing, what are you doing in the real world to end racism or any other kind of injustice and human rights violations? I bet not a damn thing, and I know I would win that bet. Well, Marissa Maria, I'm a gambler at heart. I love going to the casino. In fact, I go all the time, and I love to sit with my good old Judies, and I'm willing to wager that bet. I have a channel called Peterisms, and I also have a vlog called Peter Vlogs, and I talk about all of the work that I do on a regular basis. In 1998, I graduated with my master's degree in social work and was a social worker for quite some time over that, in which I worked in outreach programs for the homeless, and I worked with providing food to people that did not have shelter or food. So I actually have done some work towards those things, and unlike other channels that claim that some people are just making makeup while they're saving lives, I actually did work in the field to really help people out in their lives. I actually have done videos about racism and Black Lives Matter. I actually just yesterday on my Peterisms channel talked about the fact that words do matter and bullying hurts. I have talked extensively about my marriage and gay rights activism on my channel. So before you come to my channel calling me a snowflake, check your resources and do your research. I think that goes without saying. We should all be doing that, don't you think? So I'd wager I'd win that bet. What was that, $5? I'll see you at the tables. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because I can't stand when people come and they leave ignorant bullshit comments without knowing what they're talking about, right? And they want to say things like, I don't know what to believe, or, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Just shut up, okay? Now, I let you stay in the comment section because everybody has a right to say something here, okay? Over on Blue Nail Polishes, baby, you ain't got no rights, okay? It's like, it's just not fair over there. It's not fair. I will say this about this comment, though, that cracked my shit up, honestly, that while this old Marissa was going in on all the unfairness in the world, that she says in here, life is full of unfairness and always will be, but focus on the unfair things that actually matter, like people not having enough food or a roof over their heads or medical care for a sick child. I'm not sure that I agree that those are things that are unfair. I think those are actually injustices in the world. Sick children without medical care and people that don't have shelter when it's sub-zero below weather or sub-zero whatever we want to call it. It's fucking cold, okay, outside. And people without clean water and food, that's not unfair. That's called inhumane. So, before you choose to leave another comment on my channel, why don't you check your resources and think about what you said. Rock on, gold-dust woman. Take y'all through the spoon. Marissa, dig y'all gray. I lost a fan over that one. I knew I would, but that's okay. Back in the day, I used to get a little bit more heated about things, and if you didn't watch my video yesterday about Tarte Cosmetics because you could care less about it, then I will tell you what I said yesterday in my video, and that is that I am going to start doing a series on my channel where once a week I go back to the drama that I did a year ago, and I look at all the drama. It will be like, this week in drama a year ago, and it's going to be called Day Old Stew. Amberlynn, bring your grandma some sweet tea and some of that day old stew with some cornbread, Amberlynn, because I love day old stew. So anyway, you know, I got a couple comments like that. I thought, you know, I always say this, if you're gonna leave a comment in my comment section, first of all, don't be attacking, be respectful, and be kind. If you can't do that, you ain't no kind of adult, okay? I'm sorry, but you need to go back to first grade and you need to learn how to share the paste with the rest of the first graders, okay? Because you obviously didn't learn that, Marissa. Seriously? Why'd they pass you on to second grade? Did you have good cursive? I don't understand it, okay? But, you know, this whole Tarte Cosmetics thing really kind of bothered me because I'm going to tell you, like, furthermore, right? Past the fact that we were calling it, you know, not all-inclusive, and I felt that people were mincing words when they were discussing, well, I mean, it was, but discussing this, and then all this kind of stuff. I got a few comments, much like Marissa's on there, that people were like, why is this that big of a deal? This is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, okay? Well, while I agree, I will agree with this, while I agree with the fact that, you know, makeup companies not including certain shades in their makeup range is not as important as a child maybe needing a, let's say, lung tonight or they're going to pass away. I do agree with that, okay? I'm not an idiot, and I think I can see the priorities of the world, okay? Starving children, famine, lack of clean water, homelessness, you know, all of these things, you know, mass devastation, you know, disease. I understand that those are really serious things. I've worked the majority of my life towards bettering the world, and on my other channels, if you watch them consistently, what you'll hear me say is that these things are really important to me, right? We need to focus on the things that are important. That being said, this channel is to bring awareness to pop culture issues and to kind of laugh at it while also having a serious discussion. So let's have that serious discussion since people wanted to come to my video yesterday, and most of you were very supportive of what I had to say. But that's not it to me. I don't really care. If people don't agree with me, that's totally okay. Everybody has a right to their opinion, don't you think? Like I told old Karina Kaboom back in the day, baby. I said, Karina, opinions are like assholes, baby. Everybody's got one. In my my opinion. Now, I ain't seen her that close, so I don't know if she's got an asshole or not, but maybe that's the problem. It's closed up. I'm just saying. So anyway, but let me tell you why this is an issue, okay? All jokes aside, seriously, all jokes aside for a second. When we talk about it's just not that big of a deal and go on and use other makeup companies and shut the fuck up, on and on and on, the reason why that is a big deal is this, okay? Because we are talking about systematic commercial racism that exists in our culture, okay? This is not just a thing that happens with one makeup company or one makeup guru or one YouTube reviewer. This is a systematic thing that is happening where racism is embedded into our society in ways that we are not even aware of it, right? And it's going on all over the world. And you want to talk about things like LGBT rights. Okay, well, let's talk about that. We can talk about how homophobia is, you know, the systematic homophobia that is built into our society, right? And then we get to the point where we're talking about LGBT rights, and then we get to the point where, oh, it's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, right? Why do trans, if you don't like this, and then go to a different store. If they won't let you use this restaurant, we were talking about, you know, Religious Freedom Act, okay? If they won't let you go to this restaurant because they're trans, then go to a different restaurant, okay? That's where the conversation started. That conversation then went to safety in the bathrooms, which then went to national legislation. These are serious issues. It's systematic racism. It's systematic homophobia. It's systematic transphobia. It's not taking people seriously in our society. It's not just a fucking YouTube video, okay? I do it with Rihanna rings like a bell through the night, and wouldn't you love to love her? I do it with the music and a tambourine. I mean, if you can't... Listen, you need more than a tambourine and a fucking fan to get famous on YouTube. But I do it that way so that people are sitting back and they're watching it and they're listening to me and it feels like they're having a conversation with me, and then they're like, oh my God, I had never thought of it that way, okay? Because if I had got on this video every single day for the last year and a half and got real serious and talked about the seriousness of homophobia and the seriousness of transphobia and the seriousness of racism in our country, nobody would watch my videos because they wouldn't want to hear about this serious bullshit. It's depressing, okay? It's very, very depressing. But it's real, and it's what we need to be talking about. We need to be talking about problematic YouTubers that are putting out things into the drug culture, that are pushing the drug culture. We need to talk about, you know, problematic YouTubers that have no cultural appropriation whatsoever. They don't know how to act in other countries. We need to be talking about these issues so that our children and we as adults learn and educate ourselves to become better human beings. That's what this is all about, okay? And I'm a super fan of YouTube, so of course I'm gonna talk about it in reference to Tarte Cosmetics. But am I really talking about Tarte Cosmetics, or am I talking about the systematic racism that exists in our country? Ask yourself that question. Do you really think I'm that shallow that I give a fuck? I mean, seriously, that I really think a foundation is more important than a child's life, that you need to leave that comment on my video? And I'm really not coming for this, Marissa. I'm just using it as an example. But I think that that's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Why are we having these conversations on YouTube and in the drama community? Is it just to say, oh, I can't support their brand anymore? Or is it to discuss the bigger issue of what's really going on? And those are the issues that concern me. This is a bigger, broader issue than just the foundation. It starts there, or that's part of the journey, but that's not everything that it's about, right? And I think that we need to start having some of those conversations, but if I did it every day, it would get depressing. We can't deal with that on a daily basis. We just can't, right? But when somebody tells you, okay, and I'm just gonna say this right now, for people all over the world, but you know, like for people that, I cannot imagine being an African-American woman and going into Sephora and asking for a certain shade, and for, I don't know, the person that works there to look at me and say, they don't have your shade, go buy another one and get the fuck over it. What? Seriously? I cannot even imagine what that would feel like, right? You know, now I have dealt with adverse homophobia as a gay couple, as a married gay couple, being treated different than my heterosexual married friends. So I do know what that feels like, okay? I do know what oppression feels like. And let me tell you something about oppression. My mother taught me that when you walk down the street, hold your head up high because you refuse to be a victim of their oppression. But that doesn't mean that we stop ignoring it, okay? Or that we ignore it. That doesn't mean that we stop paying attention to it and we stop having the discussions. These discussions are important, okay? And we can have some humor, we can have some jokes along the way. I loved watching Jackie Ina's video and her review of the video because I love that she was able to kind of sit back and laugh at all of this while at the same time knowing how serious of an issue this really is, right? So when we're having this discussion, we need to think about really, on the grand scheme of things, how serious this is. Because it is. It is very serious, you know? These are systematic ways that we put into culture. Do y'all remember back in the day, Devil Wears Prada? Do you remember that? When, what's-her-face, Anne Hathaway picks out that sweater, and she says something about it being a blue sweater, and Meryl Streep about loses her shit over that? And she goes, it's cerulean or something like that. And she goes, that color was decisively picked out. I can't remember the quote, but I know somebody. I love that movie so much. But she says, that color was specifically picked out for you, blah, 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 whatever. People need to start thinking a little bit, okay? The things that are out there in the world, the ways that things happen, they are, you think a major makeup company, okay? One of the leading makeup companies in the world just leaves out a shit ton of shades. And they don't think about the repercussions of that? They don't think about people questioning that? Or is it possible that they knew what they were doing? Is it possible that this is a PR stunt? Is it possible that they wanted to bring attention to this? And why would they possibly want to bring attention to this? I can't imagine why. But it's a conversation that needs to be had. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.